So I'm calling the road commission meeting to order.
We have a party before you leave.
So I would ask all of you to stand with me and we'll say the pledge to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So Bob, are you still with us? Bob Godfrey?
No.
Line's dead. So Katie, I know you've got too many things to do right now. We don't have Bob Godfrey on the line anymore, so I don't know.
Do you want me to call him?
We lost him.
What do you think is best? I think it would be at least good for somebody to call him and see if he wants to be on.
I'll get it changed up.
Please.
He's on line one. You gotta push it real hard.
No,
We'll let
you better do it so we don't lose him.
Hello?
Yeah.
You're back. We're about to start.
I lost my signal. We're on.
Okay, well,
Hopefully I'll keep it up here.
yeah. Well, we called the meeting to order, so move forward here. What's your pleasure on the agenda?
I would move to approve the agenda.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion from Kathy, a support from Mark to approve the agenda. Any additions? Okay, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The agenda is approved. So, what's your pleasure on the minutes?
Good to me.
Support.
Okay, motion from Mike, support from Kathy to approve the minutes of our last meeting, which was February the 22nd. Any discussion or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The minutes are approved. So we have the bills in front of us. Well, let's do accounts payable first.
I would move to approve the accounts payable dated March 7th for a total of $358,391.81.
Support.
Okay. A motion from Kathy, support from Mark to approve the March 7th accounts payables, a total of $358,391.81. Give you a little bit here to take a look at them, see if you have any questions.
What did Calhoun County do for $36?
That was the pay for the meeting that we went to.
Oh,
For the
okay.
That was for the meal.
Okay.
For 2.
So that Bob and I could eat that day.
You guys didn't take your lunch?
You didn't pack one for us.
You'd have got a bologna sandwich.
How was that for an answer?
Left, we got pizza.
We got pizza.
Pizza. I just seen that for 36 bucks, what did they do for us for 36 bucks?
Not much.
Not much, got your pizza, what they did,
A small pail of stone.
yeah.
Cost us 12 grand to get our audit done.
Yep,
That's not all of it.
That's not all of it.
That's a progress payment.
that's just
No.
down payment,
Dang,
I know it.
that's ridiculous.
Well, I don't know if I would agree with that. With the amount of time, I mean,
I don't care if you agree with it or not, that's ridiculous.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah,
a lot of hours.
you bet.
Better be a lot of hours.
Mm-hmm.
Are we ready to vote?
I am.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor of the motion to pay the bills, say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion is approved.
Can we include
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
move back
Yeah,
page here,
that's right.
along with the front one here, for the
Yeah.
EFTs.
Right,
Thanks,
there we
Mike, I
go.
forgot about
Yep.
that. Thanks for reminding me.
There we go.
Done.
Looks like there's 4 on there, that one's done.
That was finished, too.
That one's done, that's done.
We're done.
Okay, so now we move on to the payroll.
Move that we pay the payroll in the amount, or for February 29th and March 14th. 121, 250, 71 for February and 116, 45, 85 for March 14th.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion from Mark and a support from Kathy to approve the payrolls for February the 29th and March the 14th. Any questions? Are we ready to vote? Okay, all in favor of the motion to approve the payrolls, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion is carried.
Sign down.
Did I not sign?
No,
Did I,
sign.
did I pass them on?
No.
No, I
No,
didn't
you
sign
didn't.
those.
Okay.
Nope, I'm gonna sign those. I don't know if I passed them on, didn't sign them, or if these came backward. I don't know. There's 4 of them on there now, though.
That's all that counts.
That's all that matters. I think I need one more.
done.
Okay, so we're now ready for the treasurer's report.
Beginning cash and investment balance is $3,196,513.08. Total receipts were $999,058. Total bills and payroll is $595,688.37. Bonds and escrow is $10,250. CD reserve for 2 trucks is $637,452.86. Ending available fund balance is $2,952,122.35. Outstanding accounts payable is $28,810.35.
Move to approve. Don't, we need a motion, I don't know
I
that we
think we
really
just
need
put
a
it on
motion.
file, don't we?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just a report.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So the state maintenance number for January is a pretty hefty number. Is that partly because of the new trucks?
Mm-mm.
We're not getting reimbursed for any of that yet? Or at least we weren't.
Oh,
for
no, you won't
January.
see that for
2 years. MDOT is 2 years behind, so right now they just did 2021's audit. So they're 2 years behind, so it's not, the state maintenance, why it's so much, cause that was all the plowing, the overtime,
Okay.
with the guys coming in, all that.
Well, I figured that was a big part of it, but I thought
Mm-mm.
possible.
State maintenance, when we get money, is just the maintenance that we put on the roads for that month.
Okay. So, 2 years behind till we get reimbursed for truck usage.
Yep, it's always like that.
They're always 2 years behind.
Do we get interest?
And we did get,
I haven't received it yet, so that's why I didn't get it on the agenda, but they, since you brought it up, they did the, closed out 2021, and we have, MDOT owes us 299,000 and such, I can't remember exact dollar. So we'll be getting that, but I haven't received it, so that's why I didn't put it on there.
Okay. Well, that's good news. That's better than us owing them a chunk of money.
Mm-hmm. And that was because back 2 years ago, they bought newer equipment, and it just goes like that.
What if I could do that on my state income tax?
You 2 years You can't even be 1 year behind and they charge you hefty fees, let me tell you.
I know.
Oops. Sorry about that. Which pocket?
Sunday morning, we're going to church there.
There we go. Sorry about that.
Okay. We'll move on then and open the floor for any comments from the public. Any public comment at this point?
I have public comment. So I have some pictures here that I'd like to share. These are from the historic courthouse renovation. Gives you an idea on, those are all 3 different sets of packets. Gives you ideas on pictures on what's been happening with the courthouse. We had a presentation from Brian Lockey at our last Board of Commissioners meeting, who presented these pictures and the progress report. The work on tower metalwork continues with an anticipated completion of late June for the tower metalwork. Approximately 97% of the tower masonry is completed. The project is on budget, and the project is on time to be completed end of summer, early fall. And I thought that it's important to, with the scope of the project, to present as much information as we can as we go. So that is for your information, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you. It looks quite spectacular in the sun when you look at the copper. However, that's what you see. What you don't see are the safety issues that needed to be addressed with block that had lost the anchors due to corrosion. The iron anchors actually were not attached, and so that's where the stone needed to be replaced, the anchors have been replaced with stainless, and so the safety part of the project is the real scope of the project. There's been over 300 stone replaced or fixed, and it's a monumental task that's in process. So, question?
I do have a question. I, was listening to your meeting from Tuesday last night for Lifeway's information, but
Yes.
it went into this. So, I heard that that they have overages in repairing the clock, that they're moving to take care of the sandstone work.
Yes, there's certain contingencies
Yes.
that have been built into the project that when a contingency isn't needed here, it's shifted. So the overall dollars, are just from the initial change orders that we're under 11 million. Some of the conversation you hear is 14 million, you hear 20 million, you hear 12 million. Those are not real numbers. Those are made up Facebook numbers, and I would challenge anyone who is watching to bring those 20 million numbers to me. But the real number is under 11. To date spent is about 8 million.
So my question is the clock is being fixed and will be
Yes.
operational?
Yes.
And that any of those other monies, contingency monies that they moved, it's that they did the work, but they didn't need all of that budgeted
Correct.
money, so they moved that money
Yes,
into
correct.
this other bucket.
Yeah.
And that was my understanding.
There have been some adjustments on what the work to be done, but the dollars that were earmarked for those jobs, those parts of the work that may not be done, the dollars are being shifted, and that's how we're being able to stay within the budget. We are staying in, and anything that's not being done is not a safety issue. It's something that can be done at a future time if future dollars are found.
That's a lot of copper.
Isn't that something? The copper goes brown after a short period of time. It goes to orange, then brown, and then the patina green. And it's been said that based on the air pollution and so on, will determine kind of the timing on how that change happens in the color. We don't have so much sulfur in the air now. They're different. So the green patina might take 10, 15, 20 years. That's undetermined.
Okay.
I need the pictures.
Mike, did you see those?
I'll make sure you.
Yep.
Okay, anybody else under public comment?
Yes.
Done.
At the February 22nd board meeting, I asked for the actual wages of the 5 new salary employees, and all I received was a wage scale, which just says they make between this and this. And then I also wanted the actual paperwork that Bob Griffiths used for it. So I noticed he said he used the Jackson County DOT employee scale. And we know Jackson County is substantially larger than Hillsdale County Road Commission. But I'd still like to get that information of the actual wages and the paperwork that was used to vote for resolution 24.-026. I know
Motion.
there's a motion.
Yeah.
Okay. And because I know Gary, you said, and Katie said any information used at a board meeting is public information, and the public can always get it, so I'd still like that information.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Yeah, I got a question for Doug. Have you guys discussed any plans of making
Questions need to go to the chair.
Address questions.
Oh, okay then. I'll ask for now.
Okay. Alan, you don't have anything today?
Not at this time.
Okay, wow. Mark that down, Katie.
He does this to us quite often, though. The
I'm here.
President.
Yeah.
The second round, he'll bring something up.
Okay.
He's just laying there waiting over there.
Okay, We'll move on then to, the manager's report.
Okay. Just gonna go down a quick list here. I've got it's basically just a letter. It says candidates, but it's not candidates. These are the McCrissa Board of Directors. So this isn't a voting kind of thing. This is what they've already established. And so it's just an overall view of who fills all the McCrissa slots. We can attach it to the meeting if that's what you want, but.
That's fine, but I think I received the same letter personally, and I think they're asking if anybody's interested in running for any of those slots that are up for election. At least that's what our letter said.
That one appears to be different from what I can see from here. So that one actually lists the people that serve on that board right now?
Yes.
Well, that was attached to our letter as well.
That's what I got too.
Yeah, I got that attachment, and so you knew which ones were up, and then they explained, you know, how the board is set, and then if anybody's interested in running for those positions that are up, they're to submit a letter of intent and or a resume.
Okay. Well, I guess these are what's there until July of each year. That's when these seats are up. And then the year model, whether it's 26, 24, 25, that's when they're up. So I guess it could be, the 2024 positions could be up for consideration election.
Right, they're up for election in July. And what the letter doesn't say is whether those who are seated currently, whether they're re-upping or not.
Yes.
That it did not say, they at least that's how I read the letter.
All right. So you guys did actually get.
Yep.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
did.
I just wanted to make sure that was out.
Yeah,
Yep.
I got it.
Okay, let's see. Just a quick update on the Hog Creek Road Bridge, or Hog Creek, Road Bridge. I went to the Allen Township meeting the other night and updated them on where we stand. I also gave them a contract to look at. I guess their budgetary meeting is, I think, Monday. So they're gonna take that up come Monday and see what they want to do with it. Basically, it came out to about 350,000 is the estimate. Ideally, hopefully, it's only going to come in at about 330 when it's all said and done. But just to make sure we're covered, that's the estimate that got given to them. They are looking to get it done, but they're also going to be, once they, I guess, talk about and agree to that contract, they're going to be asking this board if you'd be willing to extend that out for like 2, possibly 3 years for payments. I said at that point, I mean, once they do their portion and bring it here, that's where you guys will do yours. So basically what it comes down to, it's roughly the same style and type of bridge as what's been quoted from Crenn Timber Bridges as the Camden Road Bridge that we did this past year. It's about 6 foot shorter, which in the grand scheme of things, that deck 6 foot doesn't make a big difference. It has a couple less pilings. One of the major differences is just the creek and that the lay of the land is shallower, or it isn't as deep as Camden, so it won't take as much effort to dig up the old stuff, replace the new. So the bridge itself is about 60,000 less than the actual bridge structure that was at Camden Road. So, and it came in at like 380 something, all said and done. So that's where those numbers came from. We're also, and we did get the reply back from Eagle that as long as we put in the same basic structure and the same skew as what's existing, that they'll approve that. So that's all getting sent to them right now so that they can officially approve that, and then we can get the preliminary drawings from the company to start moving forward. Once everything's approved and ordered, it's going to be 14 to 16 weeks to get the bridge structure on place in sight. There is a limitation where we can't work in the stream bed between like the end of April and the 1st of June, or the end of June, I think, because of migrating fish. Now, that 14 to 16 week is gonna put it out past that anyway, so even if they get their portion done, you approve it on the next board meeting or thereabouts, by the time that structure gets in, we'll be outside of that anyway, and we'll be able to move forward with it.
So with that 14 to 16 weeks, will that bridge be put in this season?
Yes, and I told them the intent was, and my hope is it'll be completed and open before school. So,
The new year of school, so September.
yeah, so we're figuring by August, it should be.
Probably late August.
If everything goes
Yep.
smoothly.
So ideally, before the school.
That all it has to be ordered by, I would say, middle of April, 1st of May.
Mhm.
Or all the approvals will be in by then?
I
If
would hope
Allen
so.
Township turns their stuff in and.
Like I said, they're supposed to be looking at it Monday,
Okay,
and which means that should get it to you guys on your next board, possibly the one after that. And then 14 to 16
how long
weeks
does
from
it
that.
take them to put the bridge in?
2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, the one they built on Camden Road last year, they did that fairly quickly.
And that had a little more,
That was bigger than this one.
yeah, the depth of it caused more issues than probably the bridge itself, but. So we still have a contractor come in and drive the pilings and then use the same crane to set the bridge deck itself, but it just.
Okay.
It should work out.
Okay, perfect.
We also got a reply back from Eagle on the Elm Road Bridge / culvert. So at this point, they are directing that we have a hydraulic study done. As long as the hydraulic studies will support the water flow, then they'll approve whatever culvert makes that happen. And part of that is if you plug in all the data for the 100-year floods and how much water flow goes through it, and that railroad bridge upstream of it as a restrictor. So that's severely undersized, but it is what it is, and so that actually helps us because that limits the flow of water getting to the Elm Road bridge. So as long as we can make it and play with that program to put in different sizes and different shaped culverts to make the hydraulics work, as long as we can make that work, then they'll approve those tubes. If not, it'll have to go to a bridge structure kind of the same as this, but a tube would be drastically cheaper and easier to do. So,
If you drive over that bridge or walk across it now, because you can't drive over it, that stream isn't nearly as big as the one on Camden Road where we put that bridge last year. To me, it just seems like it would be.
oh yes, it is
much smaller.
Much smaller. But right now it's a bridge structure. It's too small to be called a bridge, but it is a bridge structure. And as long as we can make the hydraulics work, they'll allow a tube to be in there, not a bridge.
Did you say a single tube or 2 tubes?
It should be a single tube.
Single tube, okay.
More than likely, it's going to be some form of a squash tube to give you more, because it's not a deep running water, but it's the width that handles most of it.
Kind of be a square tube, although you won't be a true square. Or
Yeah,
rectangle.
they call it a squash.
Oh,
So
They don't want.
they take a round tube and they squish it. And
yeah.
You don't want the waters disturbed. What would you anticipate on a completion date for that, or don't you know by now?
that I won't know until we get the hydraulics done. And I've asked Charlie to put out a request for quotes to do that hydraulic study, and Jackson's used a couple different companies to do them, and he knows that at least one of them's fairly cheap to do the study, because it's really plugging data into a computer. So once we get that and we can determine what's going to be allowed, then that'll let us know what one to order and how long it'll take.
They don't actually have to go out there and do borings or
No.
measure the water flow.
No. And that I've heard so far, neither one of them have issues with like the mussels and all that, other than the normal fish
Saw the
spawning.
rattlesnakes.
So hopefully all the native species things are,
The Indiana
Not
bad
fun.
dog is back by
yeah, quite now.
they're on the way, you know.
All right, let's see, so that's those bridges. Myself and Gary went and talked with I guess one of the Amish bishops, the other day in regards to the signs in the whole area of Camden, Camden Road, that whole area. They agreed to, already paid for 10 of those signs. Just so you know, Gary, the order from Dornbos is gonna be 4 weeks. So what I've asked the sign shop to do is to make a few of them in-house, and so we can get at least, they're working on 4 of them right now, to get the 2 leaving Camden and the 2 coming on either end of Camden Road, at least those up. And so I've got one in my office there that they got done.
Good.
So we'll work on getting those. They gotta do mist digs to drive the post and all that kind of stuff, but
Good.
we should be able to at least get those 4 primary ones going.
Sure.
Just so you know, just for a point of interest, next week or next meeting in 2 weeks, I won't be here. I'll be at a phaser training, getting the class 2 of the phaser getting done. So that should have myself and Mark Seeley trained at that point to do phaser, and we're also going to get Heather trained also, so it'll give us 3 of us eventually, but not right now. She'll have to get in some of the other classes that come up. That'll give us 3 that can do the phaser ratings, and so we should be able to do all the roads this year and not just the federal aid eligible, which is required, but we need to get them all done. Which will give all the townships new maps and new data to go on when they're doing their next year's projects.
So having said that, are we moving the meeting on the 28th?
That would be up to you guys.
So, how long are you gonna be gone for that
That
training?
day.
That day, that's up at Holton.
It's a 1-day training?
It's up
Yeah,
at
but-
Houghton?
Yeah.
Houghton Lake or Houghton, Michigan?
Holton.
Oh my God, you can't be gone just for 1 day to do that.
Well, the hard part is that I think we've got an arbitration the day prior, so I've got to be here for the arbitration and then drive up there for the training the next morning.
Oh my,
So-
so you won't be back Friday, will you?
We're not
No.
here Friday.
What do you mean you're not here Friday? It's still March.
That's
Yeah, but
Good
it's
Friday.
Good Friday.
Easter.
We have Good Friday off.
So I have a question in that regard. On Tuesday, when we went down to the Amish farm, I asked you about the bridge resolution. And I thought that had to be done by the 1st of April.
We are working that right now. It'll be in.
So,
And that's just everybody's benefit. That is the critical bridge that we submitted 4 of them last year.
yeah,
Didn't get any of them. We're gonna submit the same 4 this year with the hopes of at least getting that top one. They said we very well could get it this year, but I'm not gonna count my chickens until they hatch. But those have to be in by the 31st.
So if we wanna move the meeting ahead, then we're gonna be able to go. Can't move it back. Move it up.
And it sounds like you can't do it the 27th because you're doing arbitration
Right.
and you're gonna be leaving. So then you're on the 25th and 26th.
yeah, I think it's prudent that we.
Well, actually, I think
I gotta look at my calendar.
I gotta look at my calendar here. The arbitration actually is the 26th.
Maybe?
If you make it the 25th, I can be here.
So the arbitration is 26th. The 27th is the training. So, and I don't intend driving back and forth in one day.
Okay, so the training is the 27th, your 28th is a travel day.
Yes.
And again, Houghton is 12-hour drive.
Mm-hmm.
So could we do it on the Friday the 29th?
That's Good Friday.
That's Good
We're
Friday.
not here.
Friday, I'm not here.
It's all right.
Yep. So then you're
I
on
heard
Monday
you
the
say that.
25th.
Monday the 25th.
And I'll have to look, cause the Cray conference is this week,
Yeah,
so I gotta see what I already have scheduled on the 25th, cause I'm not even here these days. I just gotta look at that.
So if we go
And I'd
into
have to-
April, what happens if we did it April first?
We gotta have this bridge funding thing
Oh,
has to be done.
okay.
So can we just keep
That's
it
my birthday.
on the 28th? And have Kevin's, if you need some,
Yeah, there's no reason that
Okay.
everything can't get done.
Yeah.
Well, if you're traveling, you can stop and you can zoom in, right? I mean,
Possibly.
all you have to do is go to McDonald's.
Is
They
it
have free Wi-Fi,
necessary?
right?
What's that?
is it something that, I don't know, okay.
All that should be in place before that anyway, to be honest with you. I don't believe there's anything, well, we will be asking the township to do their letter of support again like we did on the last floor, but it's really gonna be the same things with new dates. But I can get with Charlie on that and see what all it's gonna take, but that's almost more of a formality than,
We can just have a meeting without it. Kevin come in and do his report.
We certainly want to get that
Critical bridge.
oh, it will be submitted.
funding resolution adopted into the state because, yeah, with what it costs to replace bridges, we need that help.
You don't want to miss out.
No.
If you do it the 28th, I could be there.
There you go.
28?
All right,
Alright,
So I have no problem with keeping it the 28th. I guess I would just like to know if you're gonna get us a written report prior to that meeting or if you're gonna try to
Yes.
Zoom that day.
Yes,
So,
well, both.
okay, that'd be great. Perfect.
Let's see, Moserville Road and Stone Cove, they installed the 96-inch concrete culvert that goes underneath the road to run their conveyor. They've got that done, the road's back open. I've asked them to do a little bit more grading work to make sure that the edges, the berms and all that are graded right so the water will get off, because that's kind of a valley of between two hills, and that's where that tube's going through. And right now they've built berms, like big berms, to keep people out of there for safety. But that also traps water if we had a significant flow of water. So they're gonna put some more crown in the road and redo that to where water can get off until such time as they get their fences up, and then the fence along with the berm back off the roads will keep people out of their mining operations. But it's done, everything looks good, other than a little bit of grading work that I've asked them to do. They didn't seem to have an issue with that. Let's see, our crews are currently out working on a couple of the projects that were left from last year. We still have about 5 or 6 of them. One of them's Genesee Road, which we're taking out some trees and stuff before we go in and do the ditch and deberm and gravel for that one. And then we're doing Sterling Road, which is actually a total of about 2.5 miles. They're in the process of re-ditching and taking out a few more trees and a few stumps and getting that shaped back up. So they're out there working on that. And I believe you were briefed at the park meeting about the administrative assistant position coming back open. So we will be working on to get that posted as quick as possible and to try to get that refilled. As far as the trucks, the new trucks that we've got on order, we've had 2 of them in that we paid for the cabin chassis, and they've been waiting in line to go to truck and trailer. They're supposed to be getting sent over to truck and trailer within the next week or 2 to start the build on that. That could be anywhere from 18 to 24 months for that build. The other 2 that were ordered after that for the swap loaders are scheduled to be coming in within the next few weeks, and they intend to put them right in line shortly behind the other 2 as the swap loader builds. And so we'll have a few bills coming to pay for the new cabin chassis, but none of the builds will get paid for until they're done and we take possession of them, which a year and a half, possibly even 2 years by the time we even get those. Let's see. We've got a few bids out right now. One's the bid for culverts. We're needing some more of the 12-inch culverts for driveway tubes and just whatever's still needed for the different size tubes for our projects that we got going. So that's out for bid. We've got a bid out for cold patch, and we're gonna be putting one out here shortly for the catch basin cleaning and probably even the street sweeping through MDOT. That'll be like a 426 through MDOT.
I'm gonna plug in.
Sure.
The culvert and cold patch bids are going to be on the 28th meeting. That's when they were due to be opened.
The catch basin one and the street sweeper will be later because it won't be back at that time. Let's see, we've got some quotes that I've got Joe, the shop foreman, looking into. There's some damage / repairs that need to be done to the little lean-to that goes off the old salt barn. That's where we keep the cold patch. I think I showed you that the other day, Gary. It has a couple of timbers that are broke, so we've got a couple of companies coming in to give us a quote to see what it would take to get that shortened back up. Long term, it'll be a budgeting thing, but I think we need to look at a different structure or, something to hold the cold patch in, whether it be, concrete barriers with a smaller hoop barn on it to hold that. I think is ideal. The new loader we got is just too big to be squeezing in and out of that small little lean-to that's off the side of the salt barn. That's what we got for right now, but something needs to get.
So can we get those concrete cheap plugs that they do?
Cheap plug.
Those
Barriers?
squares.
Barrier,
The
yeah.
blocks,
The
Yeah.
blocks.
big
And
blocks.
then that's a
That's a hoop barn.
And then
a lot of
again,
farmers do it that way. I mean, a lot of road commissions do it that way. Just the matter of the size and anchoring it down is all, but it's just a.
so my question is what would that cost versus putting money into what we currently have?
Well, we gotta fix that no matter what. There's some broken timbers that I think we need to address and.
So we're gonna repurpose that building even if it doesn't hold the cold patch?
Oh yeah, it's just it's like got the main salt barn and then there's an overhang that comes off of both sides.
Okay.
We use one side for, generic storage and the other side's got cold patch in it right now.
Okay.
So eventually we get another place to put cold patch that can be used for
Okay, so
any numerous
okay,
things
it's not
for storage.
something, cause I guess my point is, are we putting money into that if we could do something less expensive for a longer term fix, but you wanna use that building regardless?
Yes.
Okay, that's.
And to be honest with you, more than likely, unless something really odd gets found, they can probably look at laminating some other timbers to the existing timbers, and it really won't be that expensive to.
Okay,
It's a small thing, with the new loader is so big, it doesn't take much to hit it.
You get in there with a backhoe now, or?
Oh yeah, backhoe's fine, but. Anyway, that's just something for, I guess, future, other than we're looking to fix what's there right now. Let's see. I guess the only other thing that let me make sure that everything else here. Well, I guess the only thing I want to address is just to give you some information on a letter that was sent to, I don't know if it sent to all of you or whether it just sent to Commissioner Schmidt, regarding the ongoing grievances and costs and everything. I think I did send out a letter to all of you on email addressing that, but I just wanted to clear the air and at least put my take on where we stand on that. So there's a lot of accusations made, from cost to, not settling anything, all kinds of stuff out there. And so I'm just gonna go through real quick of what I've got listed as where we stand. And so, since I came here in September of 22, there's been 47 grievances total. Of those, 11 of those have been settled. Whether we agreed with the union, 11 of those were settled. 11 of them were withdrawn by the union. There was one that's in there, it's like a duplicate, it's on my list, but that was kind of a duplicate that's it shows up as one of those 47, but it really doesn't go to anything. 2 of them have been arbitrated, and the arbitrator denied the grievance. 2 others have been arbitrated, and we're still pending the arbitrator's decision. 12 of them are currently in the realm of being scheduled for future arbitrations. 8 of the grievances are considered abandoned, and just as a couple footnotes, as of January of this year, the union has elected to bypass any mediation steps and go straight from the step 3 meeting that myself and Katie have with them straight to arbitration, so there's really no chance of any kind of settlement at a mediation step. And then also, about the same time in January this year, they elected to stop doing a verbal step, which is the first suggested step in the contract. And so we no longer get that verbal step, it goes straight to a step 1 written grievance. And that's what I've got. I don't have anything else on my report. If you got any questions.
I have a couple questions.
Okay.
Territorial road bridges, what kind of progress are we making there?
We're still on track with those. Actually, they're a little ahead of schedule. Really, the only thing that's still kind of hanging out there is the whole easement issue with the other property owner. And for whatever reasons, because federal dollars are tied to it, and we've changed the skew of the bridge a little bit, which made the guardrail extend out a little farther. Now makes that access for that other property owner that they had a gentleman's agreement, I guess, with the Boy Scouts that they could come across there. Looks like we're gonna wind up having to pay for a new easement for that. And right now they've been offered, I wanna say they're taking them $1,000 for that easement and a temporary grading easement. We'll have to see how that works out. But other than that, they're on schedule and still looking to finish ahead of time.
Next question. Is there a Frugal 5 meeting scheduled? Typically, those take place twice a year, one in the spring, March or April. Is there one?
I haven't heard of the next one yet. Usually John Lindsay from St. Joe gets all of us and schedules that out. But
because the last one I think that we hosted back in maybe October. And I recall going to one in what's the Cass County a year ago in April.
Yep.
So
I haven't heard yet, but
okay.
Usually they're pretty good about, once we started those back up again, I guess, that they're pretty good about staying on that. So John wants to keep that.
And the Southeast Michigan Council, that was the one you and I went to in Marshall.
Yep.
Was there a date set for the next one of those?
Not that I know of. I think an invite from the next, and is that gonna be us?
I don't remember.
We might actually have the next one, so I'll dig into that one.
Okay. So anybody else have any questions of the manager?
I do have a question, I guess. The salt, is the salt barn gonna be full when we're all done with the winter season this year? I see more salt was coming in.
It should be pretty close, we're still at 1,750, I think, tons is what we have to take to make our 80% of what we bid for last year. Kevin seems to think that if we even use any more, with what we can put in all the outlying garages and what we can still fit in here, then we'll be able to take that, which will either put us right there at being full for next year or pretty close to it.
So will we adjust our bid then for next year that we won't need as much salt? Is that how that will work, or?
No, I think we adjusted it this year and knocked it down from years past, and so I think we need to keep it where we're at.
But we weren't full last year when we had
Yes,
it.
we were
full last year?
totally full
Oh, we were
at the
full
beginning
last
of the
year,
year,
yes.
yes. And if we need to, we've also got the old salt barn, if we need to put some extra in there, because it's not beneficial because they charge you so much a ton to store it,
To store it.
basically.
Right.
So if we need to, we can put some in there, but I don't think we'll have to.
All
And
right.
then we'll continue on, and it won't be yet, but they'll be sending out a thing for the My Deal bid for salt again, and I would recommend that we just stay with My Deal
Okay.
pricing.
I guess I have a question regarding salt. In terms of, do we try to use out of the oldest salt first, or doesn't it matter with salt? I mean,
It's all undercover.
if you've got, corn or soybeans stored that have been there for a couple of years, you can have some serious quality issues. That's why I'm asking the question.
No, salt.
Okay.
You might have to break it up a little.
As long as it stays undercover, you're not gonna have any issues with it.
Well, I
Does that
suspected that was maybe the case, but I wasn't sure.
Does that mess us up though as far as bidding for next year?
No.
I mean, we bid what we feel we need, or gonna need.
That kind of goes on, and MDOT does the same thing, it goes on a 5-year average. So it can and will fluctuate a little bit, but that 5-year average seems to, over time, have always been pretty close.
Yeah.
They might have cut the prices.
No, I doubt that.
Price corn's going down, price salt should too.
So my other follow-up question on salt is, based on my own personal observations, salt in Hillsdale County usually has been mixed with gravel.
Not gravel, sand.
Never gravel.
Sand, excuse me,
Sand.
This year I have not seen that. Is that a change in policy?
There's still certain roads get sand salt mix in, because it only comes out of certain salters. Some of them, it clogs up and it tunnels, and so some of them still can run the sand salt depending on what roads they're on, usually the local, some of the primaries, but the state trunk lines and the hub and all that get straight salt. But there is still one part of that barn that's pre-mixed is sand salt.
So we're going away from the sand salt?
There's still certain times and certain roads that do get it, just not all of them.
Was that a cost-effective reason for changing the policy, or equipment issues?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because like I said, some trucks with their dispensing system, if you put sand salt through them, you're not gonna get much out of them. And so you gotta run straight salt on some of them.
Okay.
And if you can, and that's where it works, or if you get like those really cold, icy, that you need a little bit of grit, but they're still both there. They can use both depending on what they need.
Okay. Because my observation is this year it seems like I see a lot more straight salt. So, but again.
Well, and again, I think in the past, and I'm just going off what I've been told, it was used to be mixed at 50-50. So it was 1 bucket of salt, 1 bucket of sand.
Right.
That will clump up on you in a heartbeat, especially in cold weather. So I changed it to 75-25, so 3 buckets of salt to 1 bucket of sand. So there's less sand in it.
Okay.
And MDOT doesn't want sand at all because it plugs up the catch basins and the culverts and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Alright, so that does explain why I don't see near as much grit in what's on, when it's
Salt
salted.
will rust out the grains, so everything will just go right in there.
Sure.
Okay. Moving on, I don't see any old business listed here. Does anybody have any old business to bring up? Okay, so then we'll move on to new business. We have a number of contracts with the townships.
Okay, so I guess I'll jump into those. So these are the contracts we've gotten back so far. We've gotten very few of them. And most of these are the road stabilization and the basic gravel or limestone patching. We've got a couple of actual project roads so far, but not too many of them. If you look on the second page for like under Reading and Camden, there's asterisks on some on the other projects, not aside from the 1,500 that we, for the gravel patching that we said that we would do for each township if that's what they wanted. If there's other projects, like for Reading it's Chief Road and Gilmore Road, for Camden it's Austin Road, those are asterisks, and once we get all the projects in, we're gonna have to prioritize and figure out, how many we got in, can we get them all done, are we gonna have to push some to next year, I don't know yet. So that's why those are just kind of asterisks, we need to approve them, and that way, as long as they can get put in the priority list and get done, great, we'll get them done, but I've gotta have some leeway to figure out, once all the projects or all the contracts are in, is where we sit. And we did talk to all the townships at the beginning to say, we're gonna do a lot of primary road work this year. So from what I've seen, there isn't as many that we put out there even for extra contracts. Like Allen Township, for example, they're not gonna do any other things besides their brine because they know Hog Creek is taking all the time. So they normally have 2 or 3 roads that they want us to do. That's not gonna be there. And there's a couple other townships that are kinda like that they just didn't submit for extra projects, and we'll just have to see where we end up.
I know last night when I was at the Camden Township meeting, there are a couple of projects I think that were projects on roads that were border roads between them and Woodbridge. Maybe, I don't know whether them and Reading, maybe, but
we have a few border road contracts that are out there.
And so they didn't act on those because they were asking me, well, what's that township gonna do? And I said, well, at this point, I don't know, We were having our meeting today. So I think they may have held off on approving those.
Okay.
But you may get a call.
Sure.
Or
we got a couple of them, like Peterson Road is a border road, and that's gonna have to have a tube done first before we can do the actual work. So there's a lot of moving parts there. We'll try to get everybody together as much as we can, because those border roads only costing the township 25%.
Right.
It's a whole lot easier to get done and approved than when you gotta put the whole 50%.
Yep. Okay.
I would move that we approve all the township contracts listed.
I have a support.
Support.
So I have a motion from Mike and a support from Mark to approve all of the township contracts that are listed here. We have township contracts from Amboy Township, Somerset Township, Reading Township, Fayette Township, and Camden Township.
Then ask that motion also, mention that they'll be contingent on the prioritizing and the availability.
Absolutely, yeah. So include that in the verbiage, please, Katie. Any further questions, comments?
Yes. Fayette and Camden Township. The gravel is in CYDs.
Yes.
Which is cubic yards.
Mhm.
We're doing everything in tons.
Not necessarily yet. It's still in our system as cubic yards for gravel.
Okay, so my question is when the guys are doing the work and the tickets are prepared,